Love them or hate them, SUVs and crossovers are big money on the car market, and this is the car that kicked it all off. The Nissan Qashqai, or should I call it the cash cow, considering how much money Nissan has made from this car. This was a trendsetter in 2007, but a lot has changed since it was revealed at the 2006 Paris Motor Show, and this car now has many more rivals than it used to do. So is the third generation able to stand out from an ever-growing crowd? Keep watching to find out. Before I crack on, here's 5 things you need to know about the Nissan Qashqai. The new Qashqai has been built on the new CMF-C platform, which has been designed for not 1 but 2 electrified powertrains. The new body shell is stiffer by almost 50%, which means more response and better refinement. The steering has been revised to make it faster and to give the car better agility. The new platform has also meant it's more dynamic. The boot is bigger than before, and the rear space has been improved. Speaking of space and practicality, let's kick off in that area, as I'm sure that will be an important factor considering buying this vehicle. The old Qashqai offered 430 litres, which was by no means class leading, but thankfully Nissan has improved things for the third generation. Now, depending on which trim level you go for, you can get up to 504 litres. I have the Tekna, which is around the middle of the range, and as standard I get what Nissan calls the flexible luggage board system. Gimmicky name, good idea. Now, because of that, the boot has shrunken down to 479 litres. Also as standard, I get a hands-free power tailgate, which doesn't always work first time. A hands-free power tailgate. A hands-free, oh, took me by surprise then. I didn't think it was going to open. So once you do finally get the boot open, you'll find the opening is nice and wide, it's practical, there's very little in the way of load lip, and of course, as I mentioned, you get the flexible luggage board system. Stupid name, good idea. Now the idea is you can separate the boot and you have these 2 luggage boards, which makes the boot more versatile and flexible. So on one side, you've got a wipe down material, like so. So if you have muddy dogs in there or muddy walking boots, it's easier to maintain. And on the other side, of course, you have a carpeted material. Very clever. Well done, Nissan, but maybe think of a better name. So I am a big fan of that system. It's very, very clever indeed. Now the boot still isn't the biggest in class, but it is larger compared to cars such as the Kia Sportage. If you want more space, you can, of course, fold down the 60/40 rear seats to give you 1,422 litres, which is actually less than before. When you do fold down the rear seats though, they do fold virtually flat, which will be fantastic if you want to put things in there such as flat pack furniture or just loading the car in general. Last thing to speak about on the boot, you've got a hook either side, a 12-volt socket, as well as 2 storage bins as well. So although the boot still isn't the biggest in class, it is notably better than before, so hats off to you, Nissan. As always, the driver's seat has been set for me. I'm 6'2", so I am of course a taller chap. Let me step inside and make myself comfortable like so. For the new Qashqai, both front and rear headroom have been improved by 15mm, and the rear knee room has been improved by 28mm, making it a total of 608. Now, despite this, I do have a good amount of room in here, but I would say I had more space in the Ford Kuga I had a few weeks ago. Also in the Kuga, the rear seats slid forwards and backwards and they reclined, whereas in the Qashqai, I don't get such features. But don't think I'm having a downer about the Qashqai, because I am, on the whole, pretty pleased about the rear. The knee room is acceptable and the legroom is pretty agreeable as well. Despite this having a panoramic roof, I do have a good amount of headroom as well, so no complaints, just it isn't the biggest in class. That is what I'm trying to stress here. Practicality is also pretty good. The door bins are of a good size. They can swallow up this 500ml bottle with no complaints. In fact, you can fit a litre bottle in there quite easily. You've got a map pocket either side, 2 USB ports down here, a Type A and a Type C. You've also got ventilation controls as well, and in the middle you've got a centre armrest for added comfort, as well as offering 2 additional cup holders. As well as offering more space, the Nissan Qashqai features rear doors that open wider, meaning it should be that little bit easier to get a child seat in. When I reviewed the Nissan Qashqai, the previous version, all the way back in 2018, I had a few grumbles about the interior. I said it looked a bit dated and there were too many buttons. Thankfully for the new car, both of those issues have been addressed, and overall it is a sharper, cleaner place in which to be in. Yes, there are still quite a few buttons, but they are laid out logically and I haven't got too much, whereas in the old car it was a bit information overload, particularly on the steering wheel, which was very busy. It was like Piccadilly Circus. Yes, again, I've still got a few buttons here, but it's definitely less overwhelming compared to the last car. I've got the Tekna, so I've got 19-inch alloys, tinted rear windows, keyless entry, front and rear LED lights, front and rear parking sensors, reversing camera, 360-degree monitor, 9-inch touchscreen with Bluetooth, smartphone connectivity, DAB radio and navigation. I've got a 12.3-inch digital display, heated front seats, heated steering wheel, dual zone climate control, wireless phone charging pad. I've got a choice of drive modes. The list goes on and on and on. This car is very well spec'd out. I've also got a panoramic roof and the ProPilot system as well. So I doubt you'll be wanting for many features in this car. So this could well be the sweet spot in the range. However, if you do want a bit more luxury, you can step up and you will even get a massage function for the seats. I don't have that, but on a day like today, I'm quite happy just with the heated seats because it is freezing in the UK. Getting a good driving setup is easy. In fact, this is an ergonomic place to be, so no complaints there. The steering wheel has got a good level of adjustment, and my driver's seat, as standard, is electronically adjustable. So I would be very surprised if you couldn't get a driving setup which was good for you. In regard to practicality, I've got no complaints there. Well, I do. The glove box is a bit small, but I'll get onto that in a few moments. The door bins are of a good size. I can fit in a 1 litre bottle with no issues. In the middle, I've got 2 cup holders, a wireless phone charging pad I mentioned a few moments ago, or I hope I mentioned it a few moments ago. I should have done. Under the centre armrest, you've got 2 compartments. The first one is a little tray where you can pop your wallet or perhaps some loose change or your purse or a smaller item. Or you can lift the whole thing up to get to the bottom of the armrest, where you will find more storage as well as 2 USB ports, a Type-C and a Type-A. And of course, that leaves the glove box, which, as I teased upon, is a bit small. Yeah, it's not the end of the world, but I was expecting it to be a bit bigger, although that manual is quite large. But yeah, not the biggest glove box I've ever come across, but it should be fine for a few smaller items. If you're looking for plenty of engine choices in your SUV, then the Nissan Qashqai won't be the car for you. At present, there's just 2 available, both of which are a 1.3 litre turbocharged petrol. One offers 140 horsepower, whereas the other, which I have in this car, offers 158 horsepower. As well as that, I have 260 Newton meters of torque. If you prefer that in pound-feet, I will drop a caption below. Now, I'm not going to speak about the performance just yet because for this type of car, that does seem a little bit irrelevant. So let me focus more on the fuel economy. On a combined run, Nissan states that this engine in this trim level is good for 44.1 mpg. And in regard to CO2 emissions, this car emits 145 grams per kilometre, meaning for the first year of VED, you'll be required to pay £220. In case you are concerned or interested in the performance stats, this will hit 62 miles per hour in 9.5 seconds and the top speed is 128. Now, I have mentioned that the engine choices aren't fantastic. In the near future, you will have the European debut of the e-Power system. Now, that is essentially a hybrid version of this car, but not quite the hybrid you may be expecting. It will of course have an electric motor and batteries, as well as a 1.5 litre petrol engine, but the petrol engine will never actually be used to power the wheels. No, in fact, it will act as a generator to charge the battery. Attached to the 1.3 litre petrol engine, I have a 6-speed manual gearbox, although you can have Nissan's Xtronic CVT instead. I would rather have the 6-speed manual though, so I'm quite happy with that. For the new car, Nissan has designed the change to be snappier to give a sportier feeling. And yes, the gear change is quite direct. It's quite snappy, and on the whole, it's relatively slick. It's not quite as pleasing as the change to be found in the Honda HR-V, but it's not bad. And by the way, I know the Honda HR-V isn't in the same class as this car, it's just a loose comparison. One of the taglines for the new Qashqai is that it is more dynamic compared to its predecessor. That's one thing I moaned about for the last car. I said it wasn't as dynamic as it could be, or as dynamic as other cars in its class. The new car though, I can definitely notice an improvement, even though it's been a long time since I drove the Qashqai. Just from muscle memory, this feels more alert, more agile, and it just has a better change of direction. The steering has been made faster, and it feels pretty good in the corners. It's got quite a nice natural feedback to it, but if you want to make it heavier, you do have a choice of drive mode. So I've got Sport, Standard or Eco. Put it into Sport mode, and the Qashqai, all of a sudden it has a bit of character. I wouldn't go so far to say it's fun, because it isn't, nor would I say it is more rewarding in the corners than the Ford Kuga, but it isn't too far behind, and it is definitely an improvement on the old car. This 1.3 litre petrol engine, it offers a pretty good amount of performance. It's quite nippy. It has got the aid of a mild hybrid system, so you do get a bit of a torque boost as well. The power delivery is nice and smooth. Yes, it is a little bit flat under 2000 RPM, but once you get it above that threshold, it does make decent progress. Even when you rev it hard, it's not too boomy, and when you get up to cruising speeds, it's really nice and refined. It just disappears into the background with minimal fuss. Whilst I'm on the topic of refinement, there is a bit of road noise coming from these 19-inch alloys, and because of the new platform, for the first time you can have the Qashqai with 20-inch alloys, although I would advise against that, because even these 19s, the ride is fidgety at slower speeds. Down here I've got no problems. Yes, it is fidgety, and it also creates road noise. On the motorway, you do get a bit of wind noise from the wing mirrors, well, from the door mirrors, I should say, as well. But I actually did a test with a decibelometer. That's not the technical phrase, but I can't think of what it's called off the top of my head. And this is fractionally quieter than the Ford Kuga I had a few weeks ago, which is strange because this feels louder than the Kuga, but scientifically it isn't. The Kuga was riding on 20-inch alloys though, so that's the difference. Speaking of the door mirrors, they have been relocated from the A-pillar onto the door themselves for better visibility. The A-pillars have also been made smaller for the same reason, to improve visibility. Now I'll go back to the ride, which I said was a bit fidgety at slower speeds. For the new car, Nissan have worked on the suspension. So for example, the rear dampers have been repositioned to give better shock absorption, and the torsion beam, yes, I've got a torsion beam, not multi-link rear suspension. In order to get that, you'd have to have the 20-inch alloys or the four-wheel drive system. The torsion beam has got upgraded bump stops to, again, help with better shock absorption. Now going back to the ride comfort, I've had a little bit of a moan, but for the most part, the ride comfort is pretty good. It's just a little bit busy. These seats are very comfortable, and on a day like today, the heated seats are a blessing. So could you drive this car for a longer journey? I reckon so. I don't think it'd be too much of a hardship. The ergonomics are pretty bang on. The driving position is really good. That will of course help with fatigue for a longer drive. So yes, Nissan has been hard at work there. Overall, the cabin, in my opinion, works really well. It's less cluttered than it was before, and everything is within reach, and everything's laid out really nicely. As standard, on the Tekna, I've got a head-up display, and this is the largest head-up display in its segment, 10.8 inches, which is pretty impressive. The touchscreen works well enough. It is better than it used to be, but I wouldn't say it's class leading. And the navigation, the display, it isn't the greatest, if I'm going to be honest, but that can of course be overridden with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So a bit of a non-complaint in all honesty. So, is the third generation Qashqai able to keep up with an ever-growing influx of SUVs? Yes, it is. Don't get me wrong, it isn't the most spacious car in its class, but it's competitively priced, it comes with a good amount of kit, and it looks really, really good. And that is half the battle, isn't it? Thank you so much for Nissan UK for loaning me this vehicle, and of course thank you for you guys watching this. I do hope you have enjoyed it. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.